As you can see, we're inside. That's because the weather is, well, it begins with C and ends with rap at the moment. Unfortunately, we've had a week of cloudy weather. You can see a bit of sunshine from time to time. We've even had drizzle up here in Aria, which is pretty rare on the island at all. It's been great actually for the island's crops and stuff like that, but I kind of feel guilty for the tourists who've spent their hard-earned money to come here and enjoy some sunshine. We haven't got it today. Hopefully over the next couple of days the weather will greatly improve and they'll be able to get back to the beaches and enjoy getting a suntan while they're here. Also at 7 a.m. this morning, Queen Anne, Cunard's newest ship, docked in Arrecife. So I'm also feeling guilty for the passengers on Queen Anne who won't be seeing Lanzarote at its best today. She is on her maiden voyage. She came to here from Funchal and she goes on to Las Palmas this evening. Lanzarote has a long history with Cunard. All of the line's ships have docked in Arrecife over the years, and we had that fantastic period in the 1980s where Lanzarote became a kind of stopover for a collaboration trip arranged between British Airways and Cunard, where people could fly into Lanzarote on Concorde and then get on the QE2 to continue their transatlantic trip from here. So Queen Anne is in Arrecife on Friday today, and she has about 3,000 passengers on board and about 1,200 crew, and she's 332 metres long. I had hoped to get down and take some photos, but I don't think I'm going to have a chance. I've got too much on at the moment, unfortunately. And talking of cruise ships, Arrecife is the fastest growing cruise port in the Canary Islands. In the first 3 months of this year, we had over 200,000 passengers visit here, which is about 12% up on last year. And it looks like we're on to beat the all-time record for a year during the rest of 2024 of 550,000. So the cruise port is doing very well for us. A lot of the people who come in on cruise ships actually go out on excursions organised by the cruise ship company or pre-booked by themselves. But many do just walk off the ship and wander through Arrecife. I really think it's time that the Cabildo put some investment into the area they walk along and some good signage and information and stuff like that to give them some tips about where to go and what to do while they're walking around Arrecife. But nevertheless, it's going to be, or it appears it's going to be, it's a record year for cruise ship visitors to the island. And I sometimes feel like a broken record when I keep talking about records, because the airport, Cesar Manrique Airport, achieved a record of more than 700,000 passengers transiting through it in the month of April. That was the biggest ever April at the airport here. And it just seems that every month another record is broken and then another record is broken. But all good, 2.2% up on the same month of last year. So lots of people using the airport, and fingers crossed it seems to be working quite smoothly without any issues or long delays for people. Now, I hope you're enjoying these weekly news videos we're doing for you. If you are, please subscribe below. It really helps us. Give us a like as well if you don't mind. It helps us to grow the channel, and we want to turn it into the kind of channel that people value and want to visit all of the time to get their latest fix of news from the island. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Do leave a comment if you've got any questions I haven't covered, because I read every single comment on these videos and I will always do my very best to answer your questions for you. And as I've said before, if a number of you have the same question, we'll shoot a particular video for you. We've had some people asking recently about the ETIAS visa waiver scheme and the entry-exit scheme, which is an electronic passport scanning scheme that's coming to Lanzarote later this year. And the ETIAS visa waiver will be required in 2025 for everyone visiting from outside the EU. So we shot a short video on that, just explaining how that is all going to work. And if you go to our channel and search for ETIAS, you'll find it straight away. It's quite near the top because it's a recent video. But once again, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Now it's Ironman weekend on the island. Saturday, around 1,000 athletes are going to compete in Ironman Lanzarote, which is renowned throughout the world as the world's toughest Ironman triathlon event. And that's because of all the climbing that you have to do on the bike ride, which is, when you add all the different climbs together, some 1,800 meters of climbing, but also the wind. So for the first 90 kilometers on the bike, you tend to be going against the northerly winds here, which make it particularly hard. And then the heat you get on the marathon phase. If you're on the island at the moment, and it's Saturday now, it's well worth going down to go and watch some of it. The event starts at 7 a.m. in the morning with the swim, and it doesn't finish until midnight, when the last few competitors will, I was going to say crawl across the line, but hopefully jog across the line to get their medals. Anyone left on the course after midnight is pulled in and taken out of the event. For those of you that don't know, Ironman is a 3-discipline race. It starts with a 3.8 kilometer, so that's 3,800 meters swim in the ocean in Puerto del Carmen, 2 loops around a course which is 1.9 meters. From there they run up to the transition area, which is a whole row of tents set up on the strip in Puerto del Carmen, and they jump on their bikes. They then do a 180 kilometer bike ride. Yes, I really did say 180 kilometers, which goes around most of the island. They start off going a little way south, then they turn to the north and climb and climb and climb to Teguise, to Los Valles, to Mirador de Aria, and then they drop down into the valley and climb and climb and climb and climb again till they get to the Mirador del Rio. It's a really tough bike course. From Mirador del Rio, they turn back south and tend to have quite a nice passage back to Puerto del Carmen, with the wind behind them and a lot of it being downhill. But then they get off the bikes and they start a marathon, and it's a full 42.2 kilometer marathon. So it's a massive event. The super duper professional athletes can do it in under 9 hours. Most normal mortals will do it somewhere between 12 and 15 hours or so. So it's a toughie, but if you're around, give the people doing the event your support, and also say hello to the volunteers who tend to have a very long day and a very messy day, handing out energy drinks and bananas and stuff like that for the athletes. Our football team, UD Lanzarote, managed to draw 0-0 at the final game of the season against US Yisa in Arrecife last Sunday, and that means both those sides, both Lanzarote sides, have qualified for the playoffs. We'll have to see what happens in the playoffs and if either one of them win the second promotion place. But the great news for UD Lanzarote was that by holding Yisa to a 0-0 draw, I always want to say 0-0, to a 0-0 draw, it means they've won a place in the Copa del Rey, which is a bit like the FA Cup for Spain. And if they have a decent run in that, there's half a chance that we'll have a big team, a La Liga team, come and visit for one of the cup games later next season. So good news for Lanzarote, and fingers crossed they have a good run in the Copa del Rey. I was delighted to see that Lani's Suites in Puerto del Carmen have been voted the best boutique hotel in Spain by readers of TripAdvisor. Now, Lani's Suites has a history of winning TripAdvisor awards. For 2 years in a row, they were voted the most romantic hotel in Spain, and now they've won Best Boutique Hotel in Spain. I've been there a few times. I've stayed there once, but I've been there a few times to do weddings and have meetings and do other things. And I've got to say, the quality of the service there is absolutely impeccable. So it doesn't surprise me at all. They've won this award, and it's well deserved by Jonathan and the team down there. It was great to see that Lanzarote surfer Dylan Donegan has become the under-16 world champion at a contest, a surfing contest in La Bocana in El Salvador this week. Dylan has been surfing in Famara since he was very young, and his father is a surf instructor based down there. So not only did we have Dylan winning the World Championship, but the Spanish team also won the gold medal in the same category for the second successive year. So Lanzarote has really established itself over the last few years as the sort of premier surfing destination of Europe, and we now have a world champion to justify that claim. Now, you may recall that a few weeks ago I reported that the top section of the Monumento Campesino had to be removed after it was damaged in some really strong winds we had in March. Now, unfortunately, the technical team from the Cabildo who did that work investigated a bit further down into it, and they discovered that there is rust in the base sections as well. So all of it has now been removed. It looks really naked. I drove past there the other day and there's no monument on that little stone that is in the absolute geographical centre of the island. We don't know at this stage how long it's going to take to get it repaired, but hopefully it will be done fairly quickly and the monument, which we're also used to seeing, could go back up. For those of you that don't know about it, it's a monument that was created by Cesar Manrique using recycled water tanks from fishing boats, and it depicts a peasant working the land, and it's a monument to the campesino, or the peasant farm workers of Lanzarote. I was interested to hear that Teguise are considering putting height barriers on the car parks in Costa Teguise, because they want to discourage motorhome owners from using the car parks to camp in overnight. And if you've driven past those sort of beachfront car parks in Costa Teguise, you'll have seen that there are quite a lot of motorhomes in there at the moment. I kind of understand them wanting to do that, but I think they have completely missed the point, which is that if we actually had a campsite that those people could go to, they would probably do so. And it's not that they're, just trying to escape paying for a campsite, because it's impossible for them to go to a campsite in Lanzarote at the moment. And that's because the Papagayo campsite, which is the only official one on the island, is closed. It won't be opening until mid-June, and then it will close again in October. And I think it's absolute madness. The people who use motorhomes and caravans and stuff like that keep coming all through the year. So why on earth don't we keep the campsite open for them? And in my opinion, I think we should open 2 or 3 more, and then come down very heavily on anyone who doesn't use the campsites and camps where they shouldn't. We'll see what happens. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. And remember, each week we also post a video from somewhere we've been on the island. So stay tuned to the page. Don't forget to subscribe below. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.